Millionaire discovers shocking reality, Fiancée's hidden cruelty exposed, inspiring 7 life-changing lessons. Jack stood in front of the mirror, adjusting his tie, a wide grin spreading across his face. In just 2 weeks, he'd marry Sara, his childhood sweetheart. The thought sent a wave of joy through him. They had come so far together, from sharing dreams in that little neighborhood park in Chicago to thriving in a vibrant suburban community. He pictured their wedding day, filled with laughter, family, and friends who had supported him during his climb to success. He glanced at his reflection-sharp suit, polished shoes, and felt proud. He was a self-made millionaire, embodying the American dream through sheer determination, but as life often dictates, just when everything seemed perfect, the ground trembles beneath your feet. It was a casual Saturday morning when Jack first stumbled upon the truth. As he headed to the local cafe, his phone buzzed with alerts from a community blog exposing Sara. The articles depicted her not as the beloved philanthropist but as a ruthless manipulator, siphoning funds from local charities to fuel her lavish lifestyle. Families were being displaced under her watch, local businesses suffocated by her greed. His heart raced as he read account after account, his mind reeling. This couldn't be the woman he loved. Jack's gut twisted. Images of Sara, with her charming smile and kind heart, collided with the shocking revelations unraveling before him. Memories of their shared moments felt tainted, now weighed down with deception. He was faced with a moral crisis, a choice between the image of a perfect love story and the integrity he believed in. His family cheered him on, urging him to overlook the allegations. "You've worked too hard to throw it all away," his brother had advised, but each supportive word felt like a weight pressing down on Jack. How could he stand by someone who hurt those he cherished? The community he fought for, the values that lifted him, echoed in his mind. After sleepless nights filled with torment, Jack gathered enough courage to confront Sara. She stood in their sunlit kitchen, a vibrant oasis that now felt like a cage. "Sara," he began, his voice tremoring, "we need to talk about what I found." Her smile slipped, and for a moment, Jack saw fear wash over her. The accusation hung like a storm cloud, thickening the air, sending sparks through their usually warm banter. Just days later, the charity gala loomed before him, a place to recognize Sara's supposed contributions. The room sparkled with lights and laughter as Jack struggled internally. With each clink of glasses, the source of their celebrations haunted him, wealth built upon lies and deceit. At that moment, he felt a surge of resolve. Standing before friends and family, he would tell the truth. The electric thrill of tension tinged the air, urging him forward. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. Jack inhaled deeply. The moment had arrived. He stepped into the spotlight, sweat trickling down his back, and faced the crowd. Caught in a web of expectations, he could feel the pulse of uncertainty around him. Would they rally behind him, or would he end up alone? His voice cracked as he prepared to reveal the truth, aware that this revelation could cost him everything: his relationship, his community, even his sense of self. The room hung in silence, the energy palpable as Jack reached the tipping point. Would he choose love or integrity? And what would that mean for the future? Jack's voice broke through the silence, trembling as if it were clinging to its last breath. "I can't stand by and watch the truth be hidden anymore. Sara, she isn't who we thought she was." The words fell from his lips like stones in the still air, each one shattering the fragile peace that had been carefully built around him. Gasping sounds rippled through the crowd. Friends exchanged startled looks, confusion replaced by an electric tension that pierced the celebratory atmosphere. Jack's heart pounded in his chest, he could feel every heartbeat echoing in his ears. He searched for Sara, catching her eye across the room. Her face was pale, a ghost of the woman he loved, and in that instant, he felt like a stranger in his own life. As he continued, Jack felt the weight of every gaze pressed upon him. I found out that Sara has been taking money from the charities we thought she was helping. Families are suffering because of her greed. The words were like fire, sparking outrage and disbelief throughout the gathering. Gasps turned into murmurings, each voice weaving a tapestry of shock. Jack, you don't know what you're saying. Sara finally interjected, her voice quaking. She stepped forward, her usual sharpness dulled by confusion. I've done good for our community. Just look at all I've accomplished. The room started to sway, divided, as some nodded in agreement while others shifted uncomfortably, their faith in her rattling, but Jack remained resolute. Accomplishments built on a foundation of lies aren't victories, they're horrors. I can't turn a blind eye to this. His voice rose, shaking with passion. I won't let you take the innocence and trust of this community with you. A shaky silence enveloped the room as Sara's smile fell, leaving raw hurt in its place. She looked vulnerable, her glossy facade stripped away, revealing a person lost beneath the weight of ambition. You're going to destroy everything. She shouted, tears glimmering in her eyes. Us. This future we envisioned. You can't do this to me. The contradiction of emotions in the room hit Jack like icy water. Half of him wanted to rush forward, to comfort her, to brush away the pain in her eyes. But he couldn't let that compassion blind him to the reality of her actions. As he stood there, a storm of emotions swirled within him. Love, betrayal, and anger battled for dominance. I've given you my trust, and all I ask for is honesty, Jack replied softly, feeling a pang of sadness in his chest. But the truth matters more. It always will. The anger inside him simmered as the whispers grew louder, panic starting to settle into the hearts of those present. Jack took a deep breath as he continued, saying, I won't let you drag me down with you. He turned away from Sara, feeling the ache of a love that had slipped through his fingers. The realization hit hard. He couldn't fight for a future that was built on deceit. As conversations erupted around him, Jack stepped back and felt the stares burning into his skin. This wasn't just about him anymore, it was about the people he cared for, the families whose struggles he had witnessed firsthand but now felt compelled to defend. Just then, from the corner of the room, a familiar voice called out, Jack, wait. Before you walk away, we need to talk about what this means for us, for everyone. It was his brother, urgency dancing in his tone. Jack paused, his breath caught in his throat. Would his brother defend him? Rally behind him? Or would he side with Sara, pushing Jack deeper into loneliness? The weight of uncertainty gripped him as he turned, a sea of known faces now concealing uncharted territory ahead. Would he find the strength to walk alone or discover an ally in the midst of this chaos? Jack, wait, his brother, Peter, stepped into the line of fire, his expression wavering between concern and anger. You can't just accuse Sara like this without evidence. What are you really thinking? The tension in the room shifted again, as if someone had opened a floodgate. Friends who had once looked up to Sara now shot daggers at Jack. Yet, Jack's resolve only strengthened. His brother had always played the peacemaker, but this was different. His sound judgment and moral compass couldn't sway him now. I'm thinking of the truth, Pete. I need you to see it. Jack shouted, desperation creeping into his voice. People are hurting because of her. I can't sit back and watch that happen. You know me better than that. But Peter crossed his arms, a defensive barrier against the chaos around them. You're too close to this, Jack. Love can tint reality. We should talk privately before you escalate it, before this blows up even more. Private talk? Jack scoffed, shaking his head. This isn't just our family business anymore. This is everyone's story. He gestured broadly to the crowd. We have a responsibility to stand up when we see a wrong. Around them, the whispers began to morph into shouts, pulling people to either side. Jack saw friends he counted on own their discomfort, wrestling with loyalty and betrayal. Yet all Jack could focus on was Sara's expression, still raw from the reveal and unbearably fragile. She looked almost broken, the woman he had loved crumbling under scrutiny. Jack. Sara's voice was now softer, almost pleading. She stepped towards him, her hands trembling. You don't understand. I can explain everything. Just give me a chance. He could see sincerity in those dark eyes, but it was laced with desperation. You had plenty of chances, Sara. Chance after chance to be honest, to come clean, he replied, trying to mask the hurt. Days spent fighting feelings all collapsing in a moment's notice. Suddenly, the room grew eerily silent as an unexpected voice emerged through the stillness. Their friend Margaret, usually quiet, stood visible and shaken. Jack, what if she's telling the truth? Margaret hesitated but pressed on. About her intentions, I mean. Maybe it wasn't he. Maybe she didn't mean to hurt anyone. The murmurs began anew, igniting doubt. Had Jack miscalculated? Bursting from the crowd, 3 parents of the families Sara had allegedly wronged stepped forward, their faces a mixture of anguish and fury. Jack, one father said, his voice heavy like stone. If this is true, you need to release the truth. Lives are at stake. But if not, what you've done today could shatter everything Sara built, too. Are you ready to own that? A heavy weight settled deep in Jack's gut. Fear pinched at the edges of his heart as he weighed his next words. He needed to be sure, didn't he? What if he was wrong? The room pulsed with uncertainty now, the crowd a tide of mixed emotions, each wave crashing against his doubts. Either way, it's our future that hangs in the balance, Jack found himself blurting out. I need to know what's real. And just like that, his heart sank as a figure stepped forward, someone Jack had never expected. Claire, the local reporter with the sharpest pen in town. Her reputation for exposing truths, good and bad, wove a new thread into the fabric of the night. Jack, I've been following the charities. Let's find the truth together. Will you let me investigate? Claire's eyes, fierce and determined, met his, the spark of hope igniting a fire within him. But then came an overwhelming thought, what if this wasn't just about him anymore? What if the truth was more complicated than he envisioned? The stakes were higher than ever now. The truth loomed ahead, a harbinger of both heartbreak and revelation. What would they find if they peeled back layers to uncover what lay beneath? Jack felt his throat tighten as Claire's proposition sank in. The investigation could either save them or shatter what remained of Sara's reputation. A roaring silence enveloped the room, palpable and steeped in anxiety. Around him, the faces of their friends flickered with anticipation, some eager for closure, others clinging to the shadows of doubt. Claire, are you sure there's anything left to uncover? Jack asked, his voice barely above a whisper. He could feel his heart racing, his mind a cacophony of fears and questions. If she really is guilty, do we even want to know the truth? Don't you? Claire shot back, crossing her arms defiantly. This isn't just about you and Sara anymore. It's about everyone affected, parents, children, the whole community. If there's a chance that she didn't act with malice, don't you think that deserves exploration? That single question hung in the air like a fragile thread, begging Jack to either grasp it or let it slip away. The murmurs surged again, transforming the crowd into an anxious sea of whispers and glances. He couldn't shake the feeling that this moment would decide everything. Jack stole a glance at Sara, whose face had washed over with despair. Was she truly innocent, or was she a master of deception? I will do it, Jack said, taking a deep breath as he squared his shoulders. I will cooperate with you, Claire. But it has to be thorough. We can't allow any stone to remain unturned. Sara's expression shifted from anguish to a flicker of hope, but there was still a deep chasm of uncertainty between them. She stepped closer, her voice barely a murmur. I promise I'll help however I can, Jack. I really want you to know the truth. Then we'll start now, Jack replied, clenching his fists. Let's dig into everything, the finances, the charities, everyone involved. I want to know how deep this runs. All right. I'll need your trust and support, Claire said, her determination unyielding. This won't be easy. But if we want answers, we need to dive in without prejudgment. As she began detailing a plan, Jack felt the tension in his stomach tighten. Digging into their network of friends, family, and neighbors, searching through records, it was more than he had bargained for. Memories of laughter and camaraderie washed over him, but so did the bitter aftertaste of betrayal. The thought crept into his mind, was he ready for what they might unearth? What if every layer peeled back revealed even more pain than he could bear? Jack, are you okay? Peter's voice cut through the fog. His brother's worried face brought him back. I know you think this is the right choice, but what if the truth destroys someone you still care about? Silence fell over the group once again. All eyes were on Jack, waiting. He took a deep breath and faced them all. We deserve the truth, for better or worse. As Jack locked eyes with Sara, her barely concealed fear struck him hard. Would they find innocence or a darkness that threatened them all? Before he could voice any more thoughts, Claire cut in, her voice steady and focused. We need a plan. Let us meet first thing tomorrow to create a list of leads. Until then, let us not talk about this. Sara and everyone else deserves a night to think without the weight of accusations hanging over their heads. Jack nodded, feeling the exhaustion settle deep in his bones. Just when he thought clarity had arrived, the waves of uncertainty returned, crashing against his fragile hopes. Yet, in that uncertainty lay potential for him to grow either through healing or destruction. As he closed his eyes and prepared to face the night, the question loomed, heavy and waiting. What secrets would come to light when they shone their light into the corners of darkness? The journey was only beginning, and he couldn't shake the feeling that the truth might change everything, forever. The morning sun poured through the kitchen window, casting a warm glow over the breakfast table. Jack stared at the uneaten toast on his plate, the first rays of light reflecting his racing thoughts. How could he drown out the night's worries? A soft voice broke through his reverie. Jack? Are you all right? Sara's eyes searched his, filled with a mix of determination and vulnerability. She stood beside him, a silhouette of strength wrapped in a frayed sweater. Jack felt a tug at his heart. I'm fine, he said, though uncertainty gnawed at him. Just thinking about everything we need to tackle today. I know, she replied softly, placing her hand over his. But you're not alone in this. We'll face it together. The gesture sent sparks of comfort rippling through him, yet doubt lingered like a persistent shadow. He squeezed her hand, affirming his willingness to fight for her. They were in this together, but what if the truth they sought only led to more pain? After breakfast, the tension escalated as their small group gathered. Jack's friends filled the living room, the faces reflecting the gravity of their mission. Peter leaned against the wall, arms crossed, his jaw set tight. Claire sat with a notebook, determination etched into her features. We have a lot to cover, Claire began, a sense of urgency in her tone. We need to split tasks. Peter, I want you to look into Sara's charity connections. Jack, you'll handle anything related to her finances. Finances? I'm not sure I can sift through all that without a background, Jack admitted, shifting uncomfortably. We can figure this out as we go. Just take it one step at a time, Claire replied, energy infusing her words. With apprehension bubbling beneath the surface, Jack nodded, feeling as if he'd just signed up for a battle without knowing the enemy. As the group broke into smaller factions, Jack felt the weight of Sara's absence. He wanted her by his side, but he understood the necessity of getting to the bottom of the truth. He focused on the task at hand, sorting through documents scattered across the table. He flipped through pages of financial statements, his brow furrowing with confusion. Minutes turned into hours, and Jack struggled to maintain his enthusiasm. The numbers blurred together like a whirlpool of despair. Finally, he leaned back, pushing aside the paperwork. This is too much. I can't make sense of any of these transactions. Claire glanced up, concern flickering across her face. "You're doing great, Jack. It's a lot to take in. But we need to keep going." "Do we?" he pressed. "What if we find something that destroys everything? Sarah's reputation, our friendship, her future?" The room turned silent, a heavy hush settling over them. Faces fell, shadows of doubt creeping in among their determined expressions. "Jack, confronting fear is part of this process," Claire said gently. "But we've made a commitment. To Sarah, to each other. We can't shy away now." Just then, the door creaked open. Sarah stood framed in the doorway, silhouetted against the bright hallway light. Her eyes widened as she took in the scene, a room full of intense faces focused on scattered papers. "Are you finding anything?" Her voice broke through the tension, laced with hope and despair. Jack's heart twisted. He wanted to shield her from the pain that lurked beneath the surface of their discoveries, yet at the same time, he had to be honest. Would uncovering the truth strengthen their bond or tear them apart? "We're just getting started," Jack answered, determination rising in his chest. "But we're here for you, no matter what we find." As the words left his mouth, he felt a wave of resolve wash over him. They had no choice but to confront the truth, a truth that might shatter their world or pave the way for healing. And just as Sarah stepped into the room, the phone rang, a discordant sound that shattered the fragile moment. Jack's stomach tightened as he reached for it, unsure of the upcoming news. What surprise lay hidden within the caller's voice? With a deep breath, he picked up the phone, the weight of their journey hanging in the air. Whatever was on the other end could turn everything upside down or finally provide answers they desperately needed. The voice on the other end of the line was unfamiliar, low, and serious. Jack felt the hairs on the back of his neck prickle as he listened, his heart hammering against his ribs. "Mr. Harper?" "Yes," he replied, trying to keep his voice steady. "I have information regarding Sarah's charity, critical information." There was a pause, as if the caller weighed their words carefully. "You need to know the full story to understand what's happening." Jack exchanged glances with his friends, their eyes wide with curiosity. The room hung heavy with unspoken fears and expectations. "Can you meet me?" the caller continued. "It's best if we discuss this in person. I can't say more over the phone." "Where?" Jack asked, his mind racing with possibilities. "Meet me at the coffee shop on Maple and 5th in an hour." The line went dead, leaving Jack with a jolt of trepidation. He set the phone down, breathless. I have to go," he said, the urgency bubbling in his throat. "What do they want?" Claire pressed, her brow furrowed. Jack hesitated. "They claim to have critical information about Sarah's charity." "Oh no," Sarah said softly, a look of alarm crossing her face. "What do they know?" "I don't know, but I'll find out," he reassured her, trying to keep his own fears in check. But the knot in his stomach tightened. What if this was the moment where everything unraveled? "I'm coming with you," Sarah insisted, standing tall despite the uncertainty ebbing in her eyes. "If it's about me, I need to be there." "No," Jack replied firmly, though he saw her resolve. "You'll be safer here. Let Peter or Claire stay with you." She opened her mouth to protest, but Jack shook his head. "We can't risk it. I'll call you the minute I know something." He noticed her clenched fists and wanted to soothe her worry, but he also knew this was bigger than both of them. The drive to the coffee shop felt eternal. Jack clenched the steering wheel, his knuckles white. Each passing moment was a countdown to whatever truth awaited him. What would he discover? Would it break Sarah's heart? Or would it draw them closer? Upon arriving, he spotted a figure sitting at a corner table, a man in a dark jacket, fidgeting with a cup of coffee. Jack approached cautiously, heart racing. "Mr. Harper?" the man asked, looking up with weary eyes that seemed to tell a heavy tale. "Yes," Jack replied, taking a seat. "You said you have information about Sarah?" The man leaned in, lowering his voice. "What I'm about to tell you could change everything." It's about her past, and her charity work things she hasn't shared. His voice trailed off, every word lacing the air with tension. Jack felt a sinking feeling inside, dread mixing with an insatiable curiosity. Tell me, he urged, bracing for the impact. I think there's much more to her story than you know. And if you're not careful, it could expose you all to dangers you don't see coming. As the man dropped the bombshell, Jack's world began to tilt. Was the truth going to empower them, or was it the wound that would tear them apart? Back at the house, Sara stood by the window, watching Jack's car disappear around the corner. Her heart raced, fear gnawing at her insides. What if this was the beginning of everything falling apart? In that fragile moment, she secretly hoped that whatever Jack discovered, he would still see her for who she truly was, not just the shadows of her past. Meanwhile, the man leaned closer, and Jack felt a chill creep down his spine as the first words spilled from the stranger's lips. Sarah's charity wasn't what it appeared to be. The truth was unfolding. But would it be the answer they all needed, or merely a new layer of suffering? Jack leaned closer, his breath caught in his throat. What do you mean? What's the truth about her charity? The man's eyes shifted nervously, as if glancing over his shoulder in a silent plea to keep this secret buried. Sarah's charity, it's a front, Mr. Harper. A facade for something much darker. Jack's heart raced again, this time pounding with anger. Stop playing games. What do you mean? The man sighed deeply, dragging his fingers through his hair. I'm not trying to scare you, but you need to understand. I've been investigating her for some time now. The charity is tied to people who are not just playing at goodness. There's a network, and it's dangerous. Dangerous? Jack's mind began to spiral. He had always admired Sarah's work, the way she fought for causes that mattered. How could this be true? What are you saying? She's a good person. His voice rose, fueled by disbelief. Goodness can be masqueraded, Mr. Harper. The larger donations, the lavish events, they're all linked to something unseemly. There are allegations of embezzlement, and worse, connections to criminal activity. I can't confirm everything, but you need to be cautious. Each word collided with Jack's inner world, shattering the image he held of Sara. How could someone he loved hide such a dark reality? This is insane. You must have proof. Where is it? The man tapped a folder before him, his eyes meeting Jack's with a kind of intensity that burned. I have files. I can show you, but you have to be ready for what you find. What do you mean ready? For the truth? Jack ground his teeth, a strange mix of protective instinct and rage swirling within him. I'll do whatever it takes. With the man's hand trembling slightly, he opened the folder. Inside was a collection of documents, photos, and questionable financial records. Jack scanned the first page, images of events that looked perfectly altruistic in one light but now appeared to be hiding shadows. Then he looked up. This is hard to believe. Why are you telling me this? The man leaned back, his expression softening slightly. Because I believe in truth, and because Sara is getting dangerously involved. There are people who want to silence anyone who threatens their operation, and you could be one of them. Jack grappled with this new reality. He had thought Sara was someone who brought light to a dark world. Could she really be involved with darkness herself? Back at the house, Sara paced the room, piecing together conversations she'd had with Jack and the decisions they had made. Time felt endless without him. The sharp pang of worry pressed against her heart. She had to trust him, but could he handle what was coming back to the surface? Suddenly, her phone buzzed, but it was just Peter. Any word yet? No. But I'm worried. What if he finds out something he can't forgive? She confessed, the tremble in her voice betraying her feelings. He loves you. He'll work through this. Peter's voice was calm, but it didn't ease the storm inside her. How can you be sure? Because you're worth it. No matter what happens, you have to trust that love can withstand trials. But could her love survive the truth about who she really was? As the thought clouded her mind, Sara couldn't shake the fear that the love they had would be lost in the rubble of a past she had tried so hard to forget. Meanwhile, Jack felt like he was standing on the precipice of a great abyss, clutching the folder tightly in his hands. Could this really lead him to save Sara, or would it pull them apart forever? He looked at the man, determination setting like stone in his chest. I need to confront her. I have to know the whole truth. It was time to open the door to a past that might just shatter their future, but what awaited them on the other side? Jack's heart hammered in his chest as he stepped out of the office and into the brisk evening air. The world felt somehow different now, a place tinged with shadows he had never noticed before. Each pedestrian seemed to walk with purpose, while he stumbled through his thoughts, the folder weighing heavily in his grip. He could almost hear Sara's laughter echoing in his mind, a melody now at odds with the jarring reality before him. He climbed into his car, the engines purr a sharp contrast to the chaos churning inside him. He couldn't go home yet. Not when each moment spent away from her suggested an impending confrontation. He needed answers, yet his mind was tangled in uncertainty. Where should he start? What could he possibly say? As he drove aimlessly through the city, memories of their time together flashed before him. The way her eyes sparkled with passion when she spoke about her charity, the compassion that radiated from her as she fought for others. Was any of it real? Or had it all been a beautifully crafted illusion? Jack's phone buzzed with incoming texts. Each vibration felt like a judgment against him. He ignored the notifications. This was personal. He couldn't involve anyone else until he had the truth, the whole truth. Just as he made a decision to head home, another text came through, this time from Sara. Can we talk? I'm worried. The flicker of anxiety in her words struck him. Did she sense the storm brewing? He hesitated for a moment, then began typing back, his fingers shaking slightly over the screen. Are you free to meet? Sara replied almost instantly. Yes. Please, where? There was an urgency in her response that made his heart twist. He felt the weight of the folder pressing against his consciousness. He could either shatter her world with the burden of truth or could give her a chance to explain. But could he truly listen without prejudice? Let's meet at the park, he typed back. A neutral ground. He needed to approach this carefully. A split second later, he regretted not choosing a more private space. But right now, there was no turning back. The park was almost deserted as dusk settled in. Jack arrived, his nerves bubbling just beneath the surface. Quickly, he spotted her, pacing by the fountain, lively curls framing her worried expression. She looked beautiful even under the dimming light, yet there was an uncharacteristic fragility in her stance that tugged at his heart. Jack! She exclaimed, rushing over, her relief palpable. I was worried. Yeah, me too, he replied, swallowing hard. Words swirled in his head, churning with confusion and doubt. Is everything okay? She searched his face, her blue eyes brimming with concern. Not really, he said, his voice reducing to a low whisper. We need to talk about your charity. Her smile faded, replaced by a serious expression, almost as if she already knew what he was about to say. What do you mean? He hesitated, feeling the burning gaze of all the hidden truths just behind his words. I found some things that, well, they don't add up. The man I met, he said, the charity is a front for something darker. Sara froze, and the world around them seemed to close in, the sounds of the city muted as the weight of the moment pressed down on both of them. Jack, please, what did you do? He asked, unable to keep the hurt from seeping into his voice. The silence stretched between them like an invisible chasm, each heartbeat echoing with unsaid fears. Let me explain. But as she began to speak, a movement out of the corner of Jack's eye caught his attention, a shadow lurking behind a tree, watching them intently. His heart raced again, this time with a wave of dread. Who else was listening? Sara, wait, he said, stepping back slightly, stripped of both confidence and courage. Was the truth they were about to uncover going to lead them to freedom, or would it dig their graves? Jack's heart felt like a drum in his chest, pounding louder than the evening's creeping silence. "Did you see that?" he asked, pointing to the shadow that had startled him from their conversation. Sara turned, her eyes narrowing in concentration. "See what?" "Jack, what's going on?" Confusion and fear tangled in her voice, prompting the darkness to settle deeper between them. "There was someone watching us," he said, scanning the perimeter. The street lamps cast elongated shadows, but he couldn't see anyone now. The park, which should have offered solace, felt suffocating, a shared arena of unspoken fears. "Jack, I need to tell you about the charity," she insisted, taking a step closer, her voice lowered to a conspiratorial whisper. "I didn't want you to find out this way. Please, let me explain everything." He took a deep breath, grounding himself amidst the chaos. "Then tell me. But we need to be quick. I'm serious about what I saw." She hesitated, biting her lip. "Okay, but you have to promise to hear me out completely, no interruptions?" He nodded, anxiety swirling in his gut. "I promise." "It's true that I started the charity for noble reasons," she admitted, glancing around as if expecting someone to jump out from behind a tree. "But it was never supposed to become what it is now. The man you met, he's not just an advisor, he's involved in things I didn't know about when I began." Confusion rippled through Jack. "What things?" "Sara, please just say it." "I was naive," she said, refusing to meet his gaze. "I fell for his promises of making a bigger impact, of reaching those who truly needed help. I thought I could fix it. I thought I could keep things above board," but pain laced her voice, and he felt a twinge of sympathy fighting against his growing anger. "But what?" he pressed. "The money, it's being funneled into something illegal, Jack." Her voice was tremulous, raw. "And the deeper I got, the harder it became to get out. I'm scared, and it's been eating away at me. I didn't want you pulled into this mess." Speechless, Jack's mind raced. "But you let it go this far? You let someone manipulate you? What about the people you're supposed to help?" Tears welled in her eyes. "I thought I could turn it around. I didn't want to believe I was part of something so terrible. I thought I could help expose it without putting anyone at risk. But I think I've lost control." An overwhelming sense of dread fell over him. "Then we need to go to the police." "No. You can't." Panic flared in her features. "It's not that simple. If they find out what I've done, they'll come after us. The people behind this, they don't play by the rules." Jack felt torn. He wanted to protect her, but the fear creeping into his heart felt justified. "So what do we do? Just act like nothing's wrong?" Before she could respond, the shadow reappeared. This time, it stepped into the light, revealing a man with a hardened expression and an unyielding gaze. Jack's pulse quickened as he recognized him from the charity event, a man who had sent off all kinds of warnings in conversations he had overheard. "Sara," the man called out, a chill sweeping through the air. "You've been speaking too freely." Jack's instinct screamed at him to shield Sara, to get her to safety. But how could he while the truth hung between them like a loaded gun? "Run!" he shouted, shoving her back. "We don't have time." But the man smirked, blocking their path. "You really think it would be that easy?" Jack felt the gravity of the situation start to spiral out of control as he took a step forward. "What do you want?" "Let her go." "I want the two of you to stop digging," the man said coldly. "Or you'll both regret it." In that instant, Jack knew the stakes were higher than he could have imagined. They were no longer just talking about a charity, they were tangled in a web of deception that could cost them their lives. Sara's hand gripped his arm tightly, fear radiating off her in waves. "Jack, we need to get out of here." But as they prepared to escape, the man's voice echoed in the dimming light, "You can't run from what's coming, Jack." The reality of their predicament hit them both like a cold wave, each moment racing towards the threat that loomed ahead. As adrenaline surged through him, Jack wondered if he still had the power to save them both or if they were already trapped in something far darker than he had ever imagined. The looming question clenched at his chest: would the truth set them free, or seal their fate? Jack stood frozen, adrenaline coursing through his veins. The man blocking their escape radiated an aura of danger, a predator ready to pounce. Sara was beside him, her fear palpable, and he felt an urge to shield her from the approaching storm. They couldn't back down now. "Who are you?" Jack demanded, summoning strength amidst the chaos. "What do you want from us?" The man chuckled darkly, the amusement chilling. "Still playing the hero, huh? You don't even know how deep you're in. But here's a tip: trust should never be given lightly." Jack's heart pounded as the warning sunk in. In that moment, clarity struck him. This was more than just about him and Sara. It was a war between truth and lies. "Look, we don't want any part of this," Jack said, his voice steady despite the trembling in his hands. "We just want the truth about Sara's charity. If you have something against her, then you need to confront the issue at hand instead of hiding behind your threats." The man's eyes narrowed slightly, assessment flashing across his face. "There was a time when that might have mattered, kid. But you're stepping into a world that doesn't care about your ideals. Walk away, and maybe you'll have a chance." "Walk away?" Jack scoffed, rage igniting within him. "I've come too far to let fear dictate my path now." He could feel Sara's anxious energy beside him. "We won't let you intimidate us." As if sensing their determination, the man's expression shifted, frustration stitching furrows into his brow. "You really think you can aim for the truth here without consequences? There's a reason I warned you, and now you'll have to pay the price." Fear shivered through Jack's body, but anger countered it. "What are you going to do?" "We won't be silenced." "Enough." The man stepped closer, eyes blazing. "A mistake was made the moment you started digging where you didn't belong. It's a short game until someone loses more than they bargained for." Jack's instincts kicked in. He turned his head to Sara, her expression resolute but terrified. "Run, Sara. Get to safety." Without hesitation, she dashed to the side. Jack activated a defense mechanism he didn't know he possessed, pushing forward as he swiftly maneuvered between the man and her path. "I won't let you hurt her." Time warped in the chaos. The man lunged, and Jack grabbed a nearby trash can lid to block the threat. With a metallic clang, it sent shockwaves through the air. Each heartbeat felt like a war drum. He was fighting not just for his life but for theirs. "Get out!" he shouted to Sara again, who hesitated for just a moment. Her eyes shared fear and love, a tangled connection that would forever bind them despite the fraying edges. The man recoiled, a flash of annoyance overcoming his confident posture. "This isn't over, Jack. Consider this a warning." With that, he slid back into the shadows, leaving Jack panting and heart racing. They were safe for now, but Jack could feel the darkness lingering in the air, thick and suffocating. "Did you hear what he said?" "He's part of something bigger," he told Sara, urgency lacing his words as they caught their breath. "I know," she replied, eyes wide with worry. "I didn't think it would come to this." Jack turned to her, desperation hanging in each word. "We have to go to the police. We need to expose this now before it gets any worse." "No." Her voice was sharp, almost instinctive. "If we go to them, I might be implicated for everything I didn't do. Those people, they could retaliate against us." Jack's insides twisted, the weight of her words crashing down on him. "But what's the alternative? Keeping quiet while they take control?" She was silent for a moment, weighing her options. "What if we could gather proof first? If we could pinpoint the real culprits behind the charity, then we'd have the leverage we need." A glimmer of hope ignited in Jack's chest. "Okay. We can do this together." The fire in her eyes matched his determination. "Let's start from the charity's financial records," Sara said, a shift in her tone revealing the woman he once believed in. If we can trace the money flow, maybe we can uncover where it's going and what's really happening. Then we both need to be smart about it, Jack replied, heart now racing with purpose. And we have to be careful. They will be watching. Their shared understanding solidified their connection again. Before they headed back to the car, Jack paused, leaning into Sara as empathy softened his resolve. No matter where this leads, I'm here with you. Together. Sara's relieved smile lit up her face, washing over the shadows that loomed in their minds. Thank you for believing in me, Jack. Hand in hand, they trekked back to the car, fueled by a renewed desire for truth. This was their turning point. As they drove back toward the unknown, Jack felt a surge of unity, two hearts destined to face whatever came next together, but deep inside, both of them knew the enemy was lurking. It was only the beginning of the battle, and this dark reality wouldn't fade quietly. It was time to expose the truth, before it consumed them both. If you found inspiration in Jack and Sara's fight for the truth, then you need to subscribe now to stay updated on their journey. Don't miss out on future stories that matter. Hit that bell and mark all notifications immediately. Leave a like now to show your support and help spread these crucial tales. Join the conversation in the comments and share your feelings about this twist. And remember, don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation and understand the power of standing up for what's right. Your support means everything.